All right, we're about to go live. Everybody, hang on. I'm gonna bring Mike's audio on, and then let's transition.
Expecting a big intro.
You know what,
Yeah.
Mike? Let me adjust your camera. Hang on. That good? Here we go. All right, Mike, talk. I'm pretty low, actually.
I guess that's probably not helpful. Hi,
Yes.
hello. It's me, Mike Minotti.
And
I'm
me, Jeff
talking,
Grubb.
I'm not playing on my flute, that's for sure.
And I'm turning you down a little bit because you're a little bit hotter than I am, like
I'm always
normal.
a little
Like...
bit hotter. Yeah, right.
Hey, don't make me go put on my Canadian tuxedo, Mike.
I feel like we're going to be the only video game podcast not talking about the Snyder Cut this week. I'm not watching.
I watched it last night because
God damn it.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. I mean, we don't need to talk about it. You're right. I mean, everyone else can talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it so I could talk about it. That's honestly the truth.
That's very good of you.
Yeah. All right. So, wait, hang on. Let me see.
What was that noise?
That was my kid playing. Let's call it playing.
Good. Games Journal. I need to get a board now to write fun things.
Yeah, I know it's fun. It's a pain in the ass because I only have 2 of each letter, and I already lost one of the E's because Emmy wanted an E, and yeah, so and E's in a lot of words, so I have to like come up with sayings that are like capable with what I have. But yeah, Games Journal Z Snyder. That's who you're looking at now. That reminds
me, I used to work at the local pizza restaurant. And it was the same thing. I had to write things about the deals of the day, and we'd be missing letters like pizza. Let's use an exclamation mark instead of an I.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason has an extra board. Send me a board. Oh, if you have one, yeah. What the heck?
I got it. I got this one at Walmart for like $15. So.
Ooh, we already got super chats coming in.
All right. Okay. Well, let's get started. I think we're good. I don't know what I'm waiting on. Hang on. She says those noises are so funny. So, I hope everyone else thinks so. She's probably gonna do them. So one of the problems with doing it earlier is that my kids can't just stay upstairs with their mom because she's working too, and she's in her office, and she's got a real job, so she can't have the kids running around.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have the same job as you. What are you saying? Are you saying I don't have
I'm saying you job? Specifically, when I think of Mike Minotti, I'm like, that guy doesn't have a real job. It's not about myself. All right. Let's you know what? Let me go get batteries in her thing and see if that helps, and then we'll get started.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not too much. I don't know if it's actually bothering him, but yeah, you can get her batteries if you want.
Okay. Yeah, just real quick. I'll be right back.
What? Jeff was on game? I didn't even know Jeff was on Kind of Funny Games Cast. He doesn't tell me these things. He's probably already revealed all his secrets to Kind of Funny people instead of me, because he likes keeping me in the dark. Drinking a new Great Lakes beer today, crush worthy. This is their citrus wheat, specifically low cal. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like all the flavors in those calories, but I've had it. It's pretty good. Here we go. Back on the pipes. Get the Song of the Hobbits going here. There you go. A little something for you guys. Do I have any secrets? Yeah, no. I mean, I have something that's coming out later today, but I think it already leaked. Kind of everyone knows anyway, so that's not a very exciting secret. So that's it. What is the Mega Man theme? Because there's the Mega Man 2 theme and the Mega Man 3 theme, and they're both, I don't know, they're both good. And I also don't know either of them. Also, I haven't figured out how to play Proto Man's theme. That would be the one, is Proto's Man theme, but I can play it on my keyboard. At least I used to know how to play it. Yeah, close enough. Proto Man, but there's too many sharps and flats. Mega Man 3, yeah, that's the better one. I can't play it. That is bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. Also, my boss is in here. Maybe I shouldn't be drinking a beer, but it's happening. I do not know the Last of Us theme offhand. I know the Uncharted theme offhand pretty well. More specifically, I know the that the Uncharted 2 kind of like, I don't know, it's like the Nepal theme from that game or something. It's good. I did play Avengers Next Gen. I'm going to talk about that. Uh Probably you can play the Wii U Wind Waker. It's actually a pretty nice improvement. But yeah, it's still good on GameCube. My favorite keyboard. I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression. I can barely play that thing, and you heard how well the flute goes. I'm not any kind of musician. Thank you, Matthias. I'm glad you find my voice endearing. Da, 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 da. It's funny you talk about Kirk, because I was thinking about Kirk when Sony bought Evo, because all I can think about was the line from Star Trek V, where Kirk's like, "What does God need of a starship?" All I could think was, "What does PlayStation need with a fighting game tournament?" You would think I would know Song of Storms, but I don't. I'm not. You already saw it from the tier list. I'm not like the biggest Ocarina of Time fan in the world. If anything, I'm going to learn Dragon Roost Island from Wind Waker. I don't know the Uncharted theme. Like, I could do Chrono Cross. I think I could, what's that? There you go. There's a little Chrono Cross for you.
Thank you, Mike, for that interlude there.
I'm getting requests, and I don't know most of the things they want me to play. Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is like a big trumpety fanfare. It's not really a very fluty kind of a thing.
All right, let me bring up the rundown. Excuse. Okay, that's good to go.
They better be bringing back PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale. I'd be so happy. I'm the only person who really liked that game. I thought that game was great. I had so much fun playing that. Me and all my friends, we thought it was great. My boss wants Dragon Quest. My boss will have to wait. My boss wants a lot of things.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna do the countdown. We'll get started. You ready, Mike? Actually, wait. Let's make sure you can hear the music.
Right, I got a request I can actually play, I think. Wait. There it is. There's the Final Fantasy fanfare.
You hear that?
I hear it. God, I gotta find these. We have 3 super chats. Don't let me forget them. We're getting to them if you send a super chat when we actually start. I don't want to answer those before we're running here. I don't want to jip you out of your hard-earned money.
Yeah, let's do it. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Gamesbeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb, and with me is
Mike Minotti.
Today's episode, we have news, we have games, a lot of stuff happening. We're going to get to all that. Mike was playing the flute a little bit.
It's not really a flute. It's a tin whistle, but, I understand. People are uncultured idiots.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I played the alto saxophone in 6th grade, so I know quite a bit, Mike, actually.
Of course you did.
You
look totally like a sax player from marching band.
Yes, absolutely. Although I didn't do much marching band, I get that I look like one of those guys, and I appreciate that. We're going to get to a bunch of news. First, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me at Gamesbeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email the podcast, gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com, or you can get us on Twitter as well at Gamesbeat. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme song. If you are listening to this on the website player widget, or you are watching on YouTube live right now, there's an audio version of this show that you can subscribe to on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. And if you like the show, rate us wherever you're listening, or on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. Help the algorithm push us up the charts. And then there's a Discord. The link should be in the description. Go ahead and click on that. Join our Discord. Come hang out with us. And you could support this show, support us by going to patreon.com/JeffGrubb, and that will get you into secret channels inside the Discord and come hang out with us and talk about industry secrets.
Yes, that's where I'm really mean to Jeff.
Yes, yeah, that's where you can see the real, just the hatred come out. And
Yes,
I'm glad. Honestly, I'm glad he keeps it in the private stuff. That makes me feel good. He doesn't do it publicly, at least.
No.
All right, let me turn on this background noise removal now that the music's done. Should we just hop into the? You know what? We did get some super chats. Let's just do those first, and then we'll start hopping into the news.
We got a few super chats primed here. Two of these are related, but first from Georgie with $2. Rate 1 out of 10 for Halo and Starfield coming out of 2021. So Halo Infinite, 1 out of 10. Let's say 10's most likely. It's definitely coming out 2021. A 1 is it is not coming out this year. I think Halo's a 9 at least, right? Like that one's got to come out.
It's a 9.
It almost came out. It almost came out last year. So like a whole extra year for that, even with working from home and whatever else. By this fall, they have to have something they feel mildly good about putting out.
Right. If it gets delayed again, it would be catastrophic. It would be shocking. It would be a whole bunch of really bad things, and then there's still a 1 in 10 chance that might happen. So I agree, it's a 9. What do you think about Starfield?
Well, you're the one who apparently is. Right. Everyone thinks you're on the line for this one. So I mean, I think last time you actually asked me, and I said like 7.
Yeah,
and it still seems. I mean, I could probably bump that up to an 8. But like my big thing with Starfield is it has to come out so that they can start thinking about releasing Elder Scrolls, right? Like that's how I me. I've been looking past Starfield so hard. But I'm sure people want to know what you think, Jeff.
Yeah. So I think for coming out this calendar year, I'm like an 8. I think, yeah, maybe 7. You're right. It's in that range still because, if you expand that to by March 2022. I'm probably like an 8 or a 9. But getting revealed this year feels like it's a 9 or a 10. So we're on the pathway toward getting that game within probably the next 12 to 18 months in one way or the other. So I guess we'll see for sure. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Like if coming out this calendar year, probably a 7. Yeah, that sounds right.
Alexander Dark 91 also sent $2 and just asked, Jeff, please tell me Halo launches this year, and it's very most likely, definitely, probably going to launch this year.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, if it doesn't, wow. We've got a couple more, right?
Yeah, Josh Tarpley sent $2. Mike, have you tried Dr. Pepper Zero? It's great. I just saw that the other day, and so my 2 favorite pops or sodas are Coke Zero and Diet Dr. Pepper. So I'm intrigued, but like Diet Dr. Pepper is already there. I feel
already,
like in terms of,
one of the greats.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I got regular Dr. Pepper the other day by accident from Arby's, and it's like it used to be I liked when that would happen, like ooh, a treat. Now I've been drinking like the diet stuff too much. Like when I get the real thing, it's way too sweet for me. I become that guy.
No, yeah, I think we all become that guy eventually, Mike. It's nothing to be ashamed about.
Yeah, Mattathias, I think that's how you pronounce that. $3. Starfield or Garfield?
Garfield. Don't even have to think. I don't even have to think about it. Garfield.
I interviewed John Davis or Jim Davis one time. Yeah, there was a Garfield mobile game, and I got to interview him. That was fun.
There's like 100 Garfield mobile games, though. There's so many Garfield things.
One time they were like, we got to promote this thing and we have to talk to Mike Minotti. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to Jim Davis. That sounds fun. It was fun. I think it was literally just a Simpsons tapped out clone.
Right.
Because like, of course, why not? Why not? And last one here from Jedi Moss 4, $5. With the Evo purchase, why does Nintendo not care about esports? Seems a lot of drama around the Smash esports teams stems from Nintendo not caring. And yeah, it certainly seems like if maybe Nintendo had been involved more, they could have done some stuff to protect people better from some of the scumminess we found out from the Smash community.
Yeah.
But I mean, why does Nintendo not care about esports more? I don't think they understand esports very much. I don't think they care about esports all that much. I think they like doing hype events. And when they do these kind of things, that's what they really are, right? Like they brought back the Nintendo World Championships, right? And that was really more just a promotional thing. And they like doing promotional events. I don't think they actually care about like esports as a competition or as this kind of thing onto itself.
Yeah. Mike, we got another one, but let's save any other super chats for a little bit. Let's do some news. And let's start with this first story that relates to the to Moss's question. Sony Interactive Entertainment has acquired Evo, the world's largest fighting game competition tournament. The details of that deal were not like public, but they did say that they basically created like a new company to oversee it and like partially take over Evo as well.
RTS.
Yeah, but basically it's just like it seems like a subsidiary specifically designed to handle the management of this thing. And
Yeah.
I guess so. To answer Moss's question, I think it goes like you detailed it there. Nintendo probably could have helped like prevent some bad things from happening, but I think those bad things are exactly why Nintendo doesn't want to be too involved because they let Smash esports happen, and the Smash esports gets a really bad name. Well, that gives a bad name to Nintendo, especially if they're more involved, and it gives a bad name to the game. And I think they would rather just not even risk it, not even be involved. And it's one of the things where I'm like, oh, this deal for Sony, I get it. I bet Evo was pretty cheap. PlayStation is the de facto fighting game platform, but if a bad thing happens, like I'm not trying to necessarily talk around some of the bad things that could happen or have happened at Evo, but I'm not trying to like illustrate using horrific events either, like when I'm trying to make a point. So I'm just gonna say if a bad thing happens, Sony is now going to have to answer for that directly. They're the ones profiting from these events now, and that it just seems like a headache waiting to happen, and worse than a headache, of course. But it just seems like a lot of bad potentiality. There's like potential energy built up, and it doesn't seem like the squeeze or the juice is going to be worth the squeeze, so to speak. I guess how do you feel?
It seems weird. I'm not quite sure why. If they saw value in Evo, why not just become some kind of big sponsor or something? I guess the one possibility here is that Evo was very cheap because of the
Right.
things that have happened last year and because of the pandemic, right? It still seems kind of bizarre. It still came out of nowhere. Out of all the things you can acquire right now, especially with Microsoft, acquiring people who make video games, I'm not quite sure how much value you're getting out of Evo. I'm not sure how excited the fighting game community is to have Evo owned by one of the big three, right? I mean,
Right.
it already seems pretty likely that Smash Brothers may not be a part of this anymore, right? Because again, Nintendo's already squeamish about these kind of esports events, and now that one of their competitors owns it, it's probably going to just be the one little tip of the scale. They're like, well, why bother? We can do our own thing, or we know that our community will just do its own thing if it needs to, right? They know they can just let them go. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bizarre. I'm not sure what to make of it. I'm not quite sure what the point of it is. Again, yeah, fighting games are very popular on Sony systems, but they still aren't Sony first party games, which we know is their big concern, their big area of focus. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I don't know.
I think that engagement, like they're going to get a lot of engagement from fighting game players. These are people who play a lot of like a couple of games, a whole bunch. But I think they were already doing that on PlayStation. Is my thing. I just don't get like what the overall strategy here is because I felt like they probably could have accomplished the same thing cheaper. That is, assuming that maybe they did spend a lot on Evo, and I think we can assume that they probably didn't. And maybe the risk was that Evo was going to go away if someone like Sony didn't step in and buy it. And Sony,
I bet the people at Evo wanted to sell. That's
yes,
for sure. I totally believe that. So
so
I'm
yeah,
just
so
surprised that Sony was the buyer of
right,
all things.
yeah,
I'm surprised it's just not one of the bigger esports companies. I'm surprised it wasn't like ESL or whatever they are anymore that came in here.
yeah. So So yeah, I guess in the end, I mean, it makes sense if a bunch of other factors are in place, but it just also seems like I think in a couple of years, I won't be surprised if Square Enix is like, "And we're shutting down Evo. It's not worth it." If a
You mean
couple,
Sony, not Square Enix.
yes, sorry, I just read SIE and somehow
I
that
know
became
that
Square
all you
Enix in my
care
head.
about anymore is Ball and Wonder World.
Yeah, I know,
So,
man. It's all I just can't wait to talk about it.
you see,
There
it's
was
got the co-op mode coming. I'm sure we're gonna get to that, but the possibilities, Jeff.
yes, yes.
We're gonna get first place on Ball and Wonder World co-op speed runs.
Well, let's go for it. I mean, we're champions in the speedrunning community, of course. So,
Right?
uh,
Top tens at one point.
yeah,
You ready for these other two super chats?
yeah, let's do it.
Danger Man 1337 with £2 asks, when will Battlefield 2021 be revealed?
May.
Oh, very specific. Oh gosh, is that our reset era moment this month? Okay, May for the next Battlefield. It's getting revealed.
Let's add some color to that. Probably May. It's
Okay.
probably May. Things are still fluid. They haven't announced anything publicly yet, but my understanding is they're probably looking at May.
Did you already tell them on the Kind of Funny Gamecast this, and I'm just finding out about it now?
No, I actually didn't. I tell them about this one.
I might also ran this week. You can tell me.
No, they asked me about Persona after the thing was over, and I'm like, I actually don't know about that one. The Persona rumor about it coming to Xbox. So yeah. I think go to Special Ed on Twitter. Bother him about Persona if you have that. But yeah, I think Battlefield 2021 should get revealed before the general E3 timeframe. So before June. I think that means May is what it seems like to me. So yeah, let's stick with that. That's not a guarantee or anything, but probably May. What's the other super chat?
Mike Hudson with $5. Reset Era Insider is claiming that Nintendo Switch Online revamp is coming in April with new console quality of life improvements, etc. What are your thoughts, including most likely new console added? By new console, he means like retro console. So we have Nintendo, we have Super Nintendo. So, I mean, probably Nintendo 64, maybe one of the portable ones. But I'm not quite sure how much juice you can get out of throwing some Game Boy games on there, to be honest. I feel like you would have to jump to Game Boy Advance, which I feel like they don't really want to do.
Oh, you're just going to skip over Game Boy Color, Mike? Like it's not even its own platform? I'm joking.
Wow. I'm going to
go fight right now, guys.
Expedia.com and see how cheap a flight to Colorado is. So I can slap you so hard that I cook your face.
Yeah, this is our personal fight right now between me and Mike.
Yes, okay, to be clear, yeah, we've been fighting about this for about as long as we've known each other. Jeff thinks the Game Boy Color is equivalent from like Nintendo DS to Nintendo DSi. And I'm like, no, the Game Boy Color. The Game Boy Color was a separate platform. It's a separate step. That's a different generation.
It is more of a step than the DSi, but it is still in that general sort of idea and concept when it's like it's basically the same hardware, just slightly faster, so it could do a few colors.
It's a different platform. Everyone can tell us what they think about that in chat.
Yeah,
they can tell us specifically that I'm right. But yeah, I mean, Nintendo 64. If this rumor is to be believed, then I don't even know if I believe it. Like you would think, right? I would love it if they would just skip to GameCube. I think that would be super great and super cool.
Yeah, unlikely.
But yeah, I don't believe it. Nintendo 64 seems like the safe thing here. The only awkward thing there is like, what are the two biggest Nintendo 64 games? The first two big ones are Mario 64, which now granted they're going to stop selling that soon, so maybe that's why you just put it on here. But then, like, does it have the enhancements that they already bothered putting in on it? No, probably not. So, like, what, we're going to have the original version now looking blurrier. And then there's Ocarina of Time, which I think a lot of people also think they maybe just kind of want to do some kind of remaster, remake, port the 3DS version. And then, like, GoldenEye probably can't happen. Maybe they can get that settled again. A lot of the rare stuff might be slightly iffier.
Mike, do you want to go to the Square Enix event before we go, and then we'll read the super chat as part of that?
Sure. This will tie into that.
So Square Enix Presents happened this week. I think it was kind of what I think most people were expecting, right? It was what I was expecting. Updates on a bunch of games we already knew about. And then the one, I guess, kind of new thing is they gave a name to that Project Athia thing that they announced at the PS5 event last year. And I think that's exclusive to PS5, right? And now it's called Forspoken.
Yeah, it's PlayStation 5 and PC. This is from Luminous Productions. It's the Final Fantasy 15 team, and it looks like this is kind of running on Final Fantasy 15 tech. It's almost like what happened with Final Fantasy 13. How they made Final Fantasy 13 2 to kind of like run that engine out a little bit more. Except this time it's not like a sequel. It's a new game, but it looks neat. It has some pretty cool looking movement.
Yeah, I think it looks good. They're talking about, I think they said 2022 was the release date, right? Did you mention that? Is that what you said?
I didn't mention that, but that is true.
Okay. So yeah. So I think the fact that they're kind of continuing to talk about this game, they're not just like going dark, gives me a little bit more confidence that it's actually going to come out next year. But I guess 2022 feels so far away that I guess they could just be saying that. And that makes it a little bit more real. And makes it a little bit easier for me to get excited about than I was. So I think it looks good. I think I agree with Mike that the movement looks interesting. I think the world looks beautiful, and I'm just like interested to see something new from Square Enix. I think this is a potentially cool idea. I think the name is bad, but hey, it's Square Enix.
Oh, I like the name.
Forspoken.
I like made up words.
A couple. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, you're not right. It's not as bad as some other stuff, and I will get used to this one in a way that I won't get used to like some Kingdom Hearts bullshit for sure.
I got some people arguing with me because one of my big trains I get on is how I feel like anytime there's a different name for a game in Japan and like in the West, the Western version is usually better. And my favorite example is Resident Evil versus Biohazard. And some people defend Biohazard. That is just the most boring names. Resident Evil is so cool and like
I agree with that.
Like, Biohazard, like, yeah, it's a word. It is a word, but But Genesis better than Mega Drive.
Yes, 100%.
Rage.
People are so wrong about that one too. I hate when the Mega Drive. That's so cool. No, Sega Genesis. It's like a really powerful name.
Streets of Rage is better than Bare Knuckle or whatever. Mega Man better than Rockman. I can go on.
We should just start a USA chant. USA.
We should. But yeah, so Lasuki sent €2 and I asked what we thought about Forspoken, and there it is.
Cool. We also let's get another news real quick, and then we'll hit these 3 super chats after that. Let's do the Xbox stuff real quick. So Outriders is coming to Xbox Game Pass on day 1. Xbox is having an indie event on March 26th that is going to have like Stalker 2, Second Extinction, and more. No big first party stuff, but it seems like a pretty cool event for indies. I'm excited about it now, and I wasn't before when I thought it was like no first party stuff. And then more Game Pass stuff, including Octopath Traveler. I guess any thoughts about this? It just seemed like Xbox was hitting news one after another this week and doing pretty well with that.
Yeah, they've had a pretty good rollout of things that like none of them by themselves may be that big, but it's a pretty impressive week altogether. Octopath's pretty neat. That's a game that I did not think was going to come to Xbox ever, so that's a pretty nice surprise.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And then I'm like very excited to see Stalker 2 and even like Second Extinction. A lot of the games that they said for sure are going to be at this event look cool. I'm like, a Second Extinction is that dinosaur shooting game, and I'm just something about it right now. I'm like, I could totally go for a game where you just shoot a bunch of dinosaurs. Like something about that is just, I'm in the mood for that right now.
Have you heard of Turok, the dinosaur hunter?
Yeah, and I you know what? And I've had the urge to play Turok too, so that might be something. There might be something there. And then I'm really, they didn't say this, but I hope the Gunk will be there. And there's a couple other. Oh, Tunic, that like Zelda looking game.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping that'll be there too, but we'll see. Maybe they won't. Oh, and maybe this is where they finally show Hollow Knight. Probably not, right? Probably not the next Silksong.
I thought that myself, Silksong. Then I looked, and they never said anything about that coming to Xbox yet.
Right.
So yeah. I think it's only Switch and PC right now. So I think that's why everyone keeps every time there's a Nintendo event, people are obsessed about it. But yeah, part of me is like hoping that they just announce it's coming to Xbox and like announce it's coming very soon too, because I sure could go for Silksong right now, man.
Yeah, I still haven't finished the original, so I need to just go in there and do that.
It's so good. It's so good. I was thinking about it last night, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like a game that people really love. Okay, let's do some of these super chats, and then we'll get back to the news.
Yeah, well, real quick, Dan Becker sent $2 just to call us a couple of Ballin' Wonderworld simps, and he's correct.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
I was giving the hearts, man. Here's a heart for calling me a simp.
Yeah, there you go. For calling me a simp. Do we know that co-op is online co-op?
But we better make sure because we were burned on that with NAC 2.
That's what I'm saying. We were burned by NAC 2.
We were burned by NAC 2 pretty bad because we had this whole plan to play Knack 2 together to like close out the end of the PlayStation 4 era? And
When we
nope.
get our vaccines and this whole thing is like kind of behind us, let's do the podcast live at like PAX, and then like have like a special event like where we play Knack 2 co-op in like some conference room somewhere.
It might be Ball and Wonderworld co-op because I saw you play Knack 2 and I wasn't too impressed. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about Ball and Wonderworld either, but I don't know.
When we raced at E3, I was competitive. I believe.
You had fun at E3. When I was watching you play it by yourself, it wasn't quite so exciting.
Wow.
Hey, Faso 007 said £5. How aggressive will Xbox be with third party on day one with Game Pass? And he also just wanted to say that he missed out on analog pocket pre-order, Jeff, and he just needs one now.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm like hoping I get that review, and I don't want to like rub that in, but they haven't said that, so I'm like also trying to get a pre-order. So I'm right there with you, Faisal. I think they're gonna get slightly more aggressive. I think they're gonna let Outriders be the the test case. Outriders like was in a precarious position. Now it's going to be on Game Pass on day one. I think that if it goes well, they're going to go to other partners and say, look at this as an example of what we can do with Game Pass. If you have something that you weren't certain about, let's work together. Let's figure something out. And I think they will gradually build up the aggressiveness.
But isn't there kind of a risk here then that all of the first party or all these third party day one games are kind of iffy games? Right? Like there are all these games that people aren't confident in, probably for good reason, right? Like we don't want just all the Ball and Wonder Worlds that become the third party day one Game Pass things, which by the way, I'm almost shocked Ball and Wonder World is not a day one Game Pass game.
You're not wrong, and that's a risk. So I think they'll probably have to get more aggressive and try to bring in some stuff that is bigger and more anticipated, but that's like a lot of money, and we'll have to see if they have the appetite for that. So
they had to pay that Stadia money, right?
Yeah, right. Yes, I think with Stadia not doing that anymore, or maybe Stadia is still doing that. I doubt they're just still doing that.
Was it? They paid like some ridiculous sum to get Red Dead Redemption, not even day one, just on Stadia.
Yeah, it's like $20 million or some craziness like that. Yeah. I think that I think that with Stadia no longer doing that, that sort of maybe brings the terms back down to reality for Microsoft. But we'll see.
That's true. Well, Studio gave us this much. Brett Bingham with $5. We saw a trailer for Forza Motorsport last year. Forza Motorsport 7 released in 2017 and Forza Horizon 4 in 2018. What is your bet? Forza Horizon 5 or Forza Motorsport for 2021?
Forza Horizon 5 is my bet for 2021. I think Forza Motorsport is getting much more work done to it. It's a much bigger reset for that side of the franchise, and I think Forza Horizon 5 will be ready before that, because we haven't heard the same thing. Like I think the circumstantial evidence is pointing towards Forza Horizon 5. Playground Games has multiple teams. They took 2 years, I think, between each release prior to this. It's been at least 3 years, maybe going on 4 years. Like 3 years since the last one.
You said, so it'll be 3 years this fall, I think.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So I think that Forza Horizon 5 this year, but we'll see.
I mean, Horizon's the one people are more excited about generally these days, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why Motorsport's getting more work done to it. They've announced Forza Motorsport the next what is it 7? Yeah, they announced that at their Xbox showcase, but they also have spoken about how they are really looking to go back to the Horizon's the next one. Oh, 8's the next. Oh yeah, Forza Motorsport 8. You're right.
Well, at least according to Brett, Forza Motorsport 7 released in 2017.
Yes. No, I think he's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just real quick from Mattathias again, $2. Better game name: Star Fox or Lilat Wars? Probably Star Fox.
Yeah, Star Fox is just a classic name. It's like a good brand that you. Yeah, there's a reason they dropped Nintendo dropped Famicom for just Nintendo.
NES better than Famicom.
Yeah,
although Famicom is in that made up word territory that I do like.
Yeah, I mean, but Super Nintendo is better than Super Famicom. I think even with the made up word thing. I mean, Nintendo's a made up word. Sorry, my kids are being loud. Hey, you guys.
They just probably have strong opinions. They probably love Lilat Wars.
Go play Lilat Wars. Okay.
What?
All right, so let's get back to the news. I lost my hang on, there it is. Okay, so There is a new PlayStation VR controller, and I don't know what to think about it. I guess I think Sony got in a situation where like they were where Jim Ryan came out and said, "Hey, we're going to do PlayStation VR maybe again someday, but we'll talk about it in a year or two." And then maybe a bunch of people who are making VR games are like, "Wait, what the hell? We were making VR games thinking that you were going to want to be in business with us." And now they have like completely reversed it and been like, "Here's a bunch of VR news, including our new controllers." But other than that, I'm like, yeah, this looks like a modern VR controller. I guess I don't know anything
It
else to say
certainly
about
is an
that.
upgrade from having to use PlayStation Move controllers, right?
Without
Like
a
things
doubt.
designed so that PlayStation 3 can have a Wii Sports competitor.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Y-
And plus it's good the tracking is going to be from the headset, so you don't have to have like the PlayStation camera
Yes,
and
man.
like right, like the PlayStation VR is a giant pain in the butt to set up, and like basically once you unset it up that first time, I feel like a lot of people just don't bother setting it up again because it can be that obnoxious. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
like
definitely
the
done
ease
that.
of use is gonna be so important. So I
Yeah.
think the controllers, yeah, I mean they look like VR controllers, but that's fine. That's what they need to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I've definitely been in that situation where it's uh I there are games I want to play on the PSVR, but just setting it up and having to sit in front of that camera with that pretty poor tracking, I'm like, I'll just find something different to play on PC, and maybe hopefully one of those PSVR games will eventually come to the PC one. Um,
Right. And yes, someone in chat, Xbox Air, did that. This is true. In the blog post, they mentioned that they're like going out to devs soon, right? Like the dev kits. So maybe they
right.
announced it so that they couldn't just get leaked, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we went a little bit out of order here, so let me see what else is on this list. Oh, Gotham Knights was delayed. How broken up are you, Mike?
Man, I tell you what, I did not know that game was supposed to come out this year. So if I had known that and you asked me what games do you think are going to get delayed to next year, that would have probably been pretty high on my list.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too shocked about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty good from what they showed, but I also think like it could easily end up in an Avengers situation. So this is like the online multiplayer Arkham like semi sequel from WB Montreal. I think not from
Right.
not from Rocksteady, but from WB Montreal. Um,
Right, Rocksteady's making
Suicide Squad,
Suicide Squad.
which I
Right.
know you are looking forward to.
Yeah, is this one or Suicide Squad the one that's supposed to be live servicey? Or
I think this one, because
you
this is
think
the
they're
one.
backing off from that? Is that maybe part of the delay?
I think they either have to be backing off from it, or they have to be doubling down on the amount of content after seeing what happened to Avengers. Like they're like, we can't just
Yeah.
have like one enemy type. We're gonna have to have a lot more at launch if we're not gonna end up in that same
I hope that
situation.
Taskmaster is just also a boss in that that you fight. Man, when Taskmaster showed up in that
Yes.
in that Hawkeye thing, and they had some excuse like, oh, even in the future, Taskmaster here, like as if them making a joke about it makes it okay. It's not okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to lampshade that. I do. We'll say that the Wakanda stuff in Avengers looked pretty cool. I guess
Sure.
bringing Black Panther into the game is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
But I'm glad.
I played some of that PlayStation 5 version, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay, cool.
We got a couple more super chats if you want to touch on those.
Yeah, I think one of them has to do with WB. So I guess yeah, let's go to that one, and then we'll do the other one.
Okay, well, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll do this WB one from Alexander Dark here, 91 for with $5. Do you think WB Games goes back up for sale with all their games delayed? That's right, they were kind of up for sale, huh? At
I'm
least
still
everyone said they were.
yeah, I'm still in the same situation as I was back then. Like, who is going to buy them? Like, they're worth a lot of money technically, but all of the IP would still belong to WB except for maybe Mortal Kombat, and then so you're just buying a lot of people to work on games, and then you're gonna have to find new IP for them to work on, and that's pretty expensive. Or you have to license stuff from WB separately. It's just you're buying a lot of costs at that point. It
Yeah.
doesn't seem worth it, even if it was like less expensive. But like apparently it was trying to go for like $4 billion, and I don't know. I think that in the end,
Microsoft's the only real potential buyer there, right?
I think maybe Amazon, maybe Tencent, but even then, I don't think either of those companies want in.
Yeah, and I think Microsoft already did its one big buy, and it was a smarter one, right? Like, man, Bethesda for about how much was Bethesda? It was about that much, right?
Yeah.
Bethesda seems like a much better deal.
Terry Black says Suicide Squad is literally a looter shooter, so maybe they're both service games. I thought Gotham Knight was like just
I
like
think
Avengers.
maybe that might be right. Maybe Suicide Squad is the one that's more of a service game, but maybe they both. I don't know. I can't keep track.
I'm like, and it got delayed, and now I'm like, I want to go back and watch that that gameplay reveal again, and kind of reset my mind on what these games exactly are. But yeah, so don't come to us for exactly what's happening. I think both of us like saw these games were coming, and then we're like, that's still pretty far away. They're probably going to get delayed and put them out of our mind.
Yeah,
At
I don't
least
think
that's what
either
I
of us
did.
particularly care about either of these. I don't think
Yeah,
it's anything that excites either of us.
I was a huge Batman Arkham Asylum fan, and then the other games were
Sure.
like okay to me.
I like City a lot. Somebody in our chat was in our Discord was bad talking City, and he kind of got dogpiled, which I felt a little bit bad about. But I like City, so
yeah,
I had to defend it a bit. But and I actually probably like Night more than most people. Also, like I certainly think it's the worst of those three.
right.
So $5 from Darius Diggs here. Hey Jeff, Jez from WC recently said people will be surprised by the third-party deals Microsoft has in the works. Would you agree? Hints would be nice. Winky face. Wait, help me out. What's WC?
Windows Central.
Mm,
That's
right.
Jez Corden from Windows Central.
Gotcha. So all right. So what's up here? Is this the Persona thing?
It might be. See, the Persona one, I haven't looked into too much. It seems like some other people are on top of that, so I'll let them have the accolades for getting that one right. If that turns out, I hope it's not.
You mean the pressure and stress?
Yes, exactly.
Anxiety.
You got it. I hope it's not Persona 5 Strikers, and I hope it's like actually like a core Persona
5.
Yeah,
right.
because otherwise it's going to be
Well,
like people are going to be pretty upset.
Then it's weird to me if Persona 5 shows up on Xbox once again, because then it's like, oh, so these games can be on other consoles. Why isn't it on Switch?
If it's on Xbox Game Pass, I bet it has to go to Switch, right? Or I will lose my mind. Actually, I will lose my mind.
I don't know.
I will lose my mind. I will write a physical snail mail letter to Sega's president or whatever and say, explain yourself. What the hell is happening here? Please, here's a self-addressed stamped envelope. Please send your response. Okay. So I'm not sure exactly what Jez is referring to here. I know that there's some third-party deals in the works. I think that I guess be surprised is pretty key, because I think the stuff that I know about is the stuff that it was behind Phil Spencer during his the last time he had all those shelves behind him. I do think he's working something out with Kojima. I do think he is working something out with Ubisoft. I think I think those are probably going to be a couple of pretty big deals.
Is the Ubisoft thing going to be some games on Game Pass, or is it going to be their whole whatever that Ubisoft thing is?
I think it's
Ubisoft.
I think it's Ubisoft Plus. Yes, I think it's that part. I'm not for sure, but that's my understanding, is they're trying to make that happen as well. So, what that looks like, if like they're adding another $5 thing into your Ultimate, or if you have to start. If there's going to be tiers to like get all these things involved, I honestly don't know. That is me speculating for sure. That is not me saying that the price is going up or anything like that. But I do think that they are trying to figure out a way to bring Ubisoft Plus in as well. So I think that'd be a pretty big deal. But I'll ask around, see if there's anything else out there that Jez might have a beat on that I don't, and maybe come back to you guys next week.
Yeah, let's get it out of him. We have our ways.
Yes. Okay, so Dying Light 2 is still coming out in 2021. Do you believe that one?
I don't know. I saw it. It looks like a game that could come out this year.
Yeah.
I don't know. Me and zombies don't have much mutual love for each other, so not on my radar. Do you think it's a game that's coming out this year?
I don't think so. No. They were very adamant that it was.
So they're calling them liars.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Techland, but yeah, I think I am. I think they're just wrong, is what it is. Like I think they are wrong, and they will find out.
They think it's coming out this year. Yeah. They believe it. They're not liars. But
exactly. Yes, it's not a lie if you believe it, right? Let's see. Activision Blizzard laid off a bunch of staff, while Bobby Kotick, I think, is getting a $200 million payout. That investors they hate the idea of him getting a payout that big. He is one of the, according to investors, one of the most overpaid CEOs in America. And meanwhile, he's funding that by laying off like esports staff and live staff, but it's like almost 200 people that apparently that he laid off. So I don't know. I think that it is pretty wild to pull out of esports now, live events right now, when we're about to re-enter a world where people are going to want to go to any live thing they possibly can once it's okay. And I think live events will do really well. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like another kind of, I don't know. It just seems like another bumbling move from a company that doesn't know what it's doing.
Yeah, it seems weird and seems kind of gross and certainly unlikable, right? Activision Blizzard clearly does not care that much about being liked, which is always weird because Blizzard kind of does, and
Right.
that's why it's kind of awkward seeing them trying to handle people not liking them or being associated with a company that people don't like. But yeah, this is a weird, gross move.
The worst part about that is like Bobby Kotick doesn't care about being liked until apparently he was like very upset that when he would try to date women and they would Google him, they would just see a bunch of like images of him like photoshopped to have devil horns and all these people who hate him online because of gamers, and that like made his dating life more difficult. And so he's like, that seems pretty unfair. And it's like,
Uh,
shut up, you
Jeff,
gross man.
that was the endorphin rush I needed today. I like that story a lot.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, that's. I try to bring that to the podcast. I'll try to bring one of those each week. Maybe we could just tell that same story every week because it's always pretty good.
Tell that same story every week while we play the Balan Wonderworld demo again every week.
There we go.
Hey, PlayStation Slave 3.0 with $2. I remember. Here's a heart for you. You forgot the Switch on the shelf. We are talking about all that shelf stuff earlier with the hints. Was there a Switch on there? Is that one of the
There was a
too?
Switch on there, and I think it was like next to like an Xbox Live sign or something. Like maybe that's not right, but I think the Switch one is actually the one red herring there.
I think maybe that's just where he keeps his Switch.
That is probably just where you keep the Switch. It's like there's a lot. It seems like there are a lot of like plugs up there. He probably just charges it up there. I think I'm sure that they are still thinking about Nintendo and the Switch and Game Pass on Switch in some way. But you know that doesn't there's nothing pending. There's nothing imminent coming out of that. That was probably more of a red herring than the other ones. All right, so let's double check. Make sure we didn't miss it. This one's a pretty cool one. Rockstar thanked a player who found basically an error in the game that caused extremely long load times for GTA Online, and then I think they paid him like $10,000 for fixing it. And then now they've implemented it, and people are reporting like 70% faster load times. So
Wow.
pretty cool. But I will say that if it was worth $10,000, you know, if they paid him $10,000 kind of without asking, it was probably worth a lot more to them, because if you remove like that sort of barrier, it increases engagement, and I bet they're going to see like $100,000 more in sales like each week because of something like that.
I mean, you're right, but it's also like I feel like the vast majority of this time, this person would just get no money. So
Yes, you're right. Yeah, very good point. Yep.
Man, Rockstar, we're all just waiting for them to announce Grand Theft Auto 6, huh?
Yeah, I guess we are. I mean,
is that this year? Is that getting announced this year, Jeff?
No,
I thought to put you on the line for another one.
No, I'm not gonna. I have no idea. I feel like I would be the same amount of like not surprised if they announced it this year, or if they waited 3 more years to announce it. Like I'm that point where that they could release it now, or they could release it in 2025, and it would all kind of be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense the way that they're going. I guess I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean,
we
know it's going to be probably like the most expensive game of all time, right? Whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
I think so.
It really could just take a very, very long time to make. And they're probably going to be okay with that because they're going to tell themselves this is going to be the best selling game of all time, probably.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like that. I bet they're going to be trigger hesitant, the opposite of trigger happy, because do they try to reset GTA Online with GTA Online 2? Do they just try to update it? Do they try to overhaul it?
It's been so much time that I feel like they're probably just going to do GTA Online 2, and I think that scares them. I think they think they have to. I don't think there's an easy way to just kind of continue that into a game that's 10 years newer than the last one, right?
Yeah,
it's not like Warzone or with Call of Duty where you go from 1 year to the next year. This is a pretty big difference.
All right, do the super chat. This is PlayStation Slave. He was giving me a hard time on one of the Xbox.
I saw
podcasts.
This PlayStation Slave 3.0, another $2. Thank you. I'm guessing this is directed at you, Jeff. Can you say PlayStation 5 is better than Xbox while looking into the camera?
PlayStation 5 is better than Xbox in
all right,
some
everybody
instances.
clip that.
Yeah.
Just clip that, and then now everyone knows
that. I think I really like the Xbox's quick resume feature. That's better than the PlayStation 5. But when I play certain games, like I think the UI on PS5 right now is like looks prettier. That's better. I think that sometimes the games run better on PS5 than they do on Xbox, and vice versa. So yeah, a lot of. I think they're both great consoles right now, and you can't go wrong with either one. But both are worse than the Switch. So there you go.
What? Yeah. I was about to jokingly ask which one can play Final Fantasy 14. I'm like, oh, Final Fantasy 14 is playable on PlayStation 5. Oh,
Yeah.
the Final Fantasy, the actual like PlayStation 5 version is not coming till later. So then it will definitely be better.
Mike, let me see what I have in the question docket here. Let's see if yeah, we got a few. We got a few from last week too. So let's see. Let's start here with Sir Drew, who asked last week. See, did I? I should make sure I delete these as I get them, because I don't. Maybe I might have asked this one already.
Your organizational skills are once again just
yeah. No, I don't have that
staggering.
executive functioning. That whole ADHD thing is not helping me here. Okay, then let's do. I think these ones are a little bit fresher. Let's do this one from Bullet Sponge. Do you think we will see a next gen update to Red Dead Redemption 2, or is the cash cow of GTA 5 taking all the interest at the moment?
Yeah, this was related.
Yeah, right on point right there. What do you think?
Man, you would think so, right? I mean, this is the company that made like a zillion extra dollars from making the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 version of Grand Theft Auto 5, right?
Yeah.
So why not? I guess my only point of hesitation there is that we haven't heard about it yet, and that seems kind of weird to me.
Are you burning a candle?
Yeah.
It's very. You're setting a mood there. I had just noticed it just now.
Well, my dog took a shit in here earlier, so.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
That's what that's there for.
All right, that's fair. I think Mike's right. I think that the idea of this company not trying to take advantage of being able to sell the same game again with some updates is just unfathomable. They didn't invent it, but man, they perfected it. So I think Red Dead Redemption 2 next gen update is coming. They'll put it in some nice fancy new packaging and continue to sell it, and it'll continue to do well.
I mean, they probably don't need to do too much work on that one either, right? I mean, it's already such a high end game. You just have to move some pipes around so it takes better advantage of the hardware, I guess, right? It says me, the idiot who knows so much about game development.
Here's a good one for oh, go ahead.
Well, real quick, Nick Turbo, $2 wants you to look into the camera and say Xbox is better than PlayStation 5.
Xbox is better than PlayStation 5 in some circumstances.
Wow.
Okay, I was about to read a Nick Turbo question from the docket here. So
wow, double dip.
This was for you, Mike. Does it upset you guys when people make fun of games journalists?
Make fun of? No.
Yes.
I make fun of. Yeah, make fun of me constantly. Sure. I get annoyed by the whole, dismissal. We're all obviously the dismissal of it. You're right. What people are
anytime it's put in like air quotes to like be like and like upset is like maybe a strong word. It's just like, oh, it's one of these people. Okay, I don't have to like take this person seriously because they're like, oh, games journalists, that sort of thing.
Like that was right. Like the last time I got really upset was when the Ori guy put game journalists in quotes when he had that off-putting rant that nobody liked, right? And it's like what is that? Like, oh, so we're not really game journalists. Okay, when people are like, people probably get this. I try to be an affable fellow. I like to have people like me, maybe to a fault. So it's being a game journalist sometimes means people don't like you inherently, and for whatever reason, and that always makes me feel weird, and I don't know how to react to that.
I am very much
just like, I hate all game journalists. I'm like, oh, don't hate me.
So okay. A couple things. My wife was like, I said I would do podcasts on Twitter, and that was a mistake. And now I've been on like 50 podcasts, and my wife's noticing, and she's like, wait, are you like a famous games journalist? I'm like, I don't think so. And she like Googled most famous games journalist. Dean Takahashi, number 4 on that list, according to Google, by the way. I wasn't on there. But when
you need to be, where's that Cuphead?
Yes, I know. I'll work on that. Exactly. But when she was typing it in, she was like games journalist, and it's like, and then she like started laughing because it's like, like one of the autocomplete was, why are all games journalists trash? Like,
right.
And it's like, that's an autocomplete for someone who doesn't normally search for these sort of things. It's just like, that is what the algorithm thinks people are looking for when they're looking for games journalist stuff. I'm sorry, my my kid's yelling right at me. Hang on.
Well, while you're doing that, Infernal Tim sent $5. He says dismissal of games journalism is jealousy. You guys suck because I don't have that job too. Thank you too. I mean, I don't know
I
what motivates it.
I will say I'm very much on the I'm being annoyed again by like anyone who's like, oh, games journalists like engage in clickbait content, and it's like, have you looked
Yeah.
at YouTube? Like the clickbait
Oh,
stuff on
right.
YouTube is so much worse, and it's like I don't know, that doesn't really bother me. Try to make your money, I get it, but it's just so wild that like how selective people are about those things. And again, not really upset that when people don't like me, I get it, it comes with the territory, but I think when people get to know us, like they watch the show or they interact with us on Twitter, I think a lot of times they end up just liking us because they see us as people at that point, and they lose sort of the games journalist bias against games journalists. I just wish more people wouldn't come in with that bias in the first place. But whatever,
Uh,
we'll live.
yeah. We'll be fine. I have enough Rocketeer merchandise to
Yeah, to
soothe
make me
me
happy.
through
Yeah,
my
exactly.
troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah. MDHX with $5. Could you talk about your theory behind platform owners going after tournaments? Microsoft bought Smash.gg in December, and now Sony buys Evo. I forgot about Microsoft buying Smash.gg. That
Yeah.
did happen.
I don't know. It just seems like an engagement play. These are people who are very engaged in games, and you want to like encourage that and flame that, and so that it continues to grow, and you don't want to lose those players because if you do, that's they're like ambassadors for the brand. Evo is important to PlayStation because everyone at Evo is going to play on a PlayStation because that's what they play on at Evo mostly, and I guess you want to keep encouraging that. I just to me, it always seems to fall into marketing though. They're trying to market to very engaged players, and then they're hoping that will like build and then make them money in other areas. I don't think either of these companies expect to make money directly from esports anytime soon.
No.
Like ticket sales, even sponsorships, that stuff is kind of like they'll put a little focus on that, but it's mostly going to be a loss leading endeavor. And then they're hoping that the excitement for the platform, based on whatever happens with esports, turns into subscriptions to Game Pass or turns into more sales for fighting games or whatever on
They hope that when
PlayStation.
Capcom reveals Street Fighter 6 for PlayStation 5, everybody freaks out and buys a
Right.
zillion of it.
Yeah.
K Asante with $5. The Avengers game is broken right now on PlayStation 5. I wish I bought it on Xbox. Beyond the weird upgrade and saving stuff, the L1 and R1 register as L2 and R2. So I
Weird.
played Avengers on PlayStation 5, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I haven't had that specific issue with the shoulder buttons getting mixed up, but I have issues. We'll
Yeah.
get to that towards the end
I
of the show
I,
when we
I will
talk
say
about what
that
I've been playing.
that upgrade path, I know that like it's doable. It's not the end of the world. But boy, when they started explaining that on Twitter this morning,
Right.
it was confusing, and I read like one sentence into it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not even gonna look at
Well,
this. I don't have a PlayStation 4 save, so I'm not worried about it too much. But even like just reading through it was exhausting.
it is annoying, and it is just like again, it's not the biggest deal in the world. You can do it, but one, why isn't it just automatic? It's bizarre that it isn't. And the other problem is you need to have that PlayStation 4 version installed,
Yeah.
and this PlayStation 5 version is huge, so you're looking for things to get rid of to make room for it. And you would think, oh, I'll get rid of the PlayStation 4 version of this game. Don't need that anymore. And then, oops, yes, you do.
Yep. Here's another one from the question docket. Sean McElroy. Thank you, Sean, for sending in a question. If the AMC series The Terror were to be adapted into a game, what genre and developer would you put on it? Now, Mike, I don't know what the AMC series The Terror is or what it's about, and I don't think you do either. But that's not going to stop us.
No. Well, survival horror would be the obvious boring choice.
Yeah, I'm going to say
So
party game.
I'm going to say uh rhythm card battler hybrid.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. Any developers pop to mind for that? Probably just to get Devolver on it and have one of their teams come and take it on. Probably something like that.
Right, sure.
Yeah, I'll say and I'll say a party game from the Balan Wonderworld teams. Yeah, that's
Yeah, we'll get what are they called? Project One Game, but we're canceled.
yeah, yes, exactly. All right, let me cross that out before we get to another question. Uh,
We're so mean to Ball in Wonderworld, but it maybe deserves it.
yeah, yeah. It just once it comes out, we'll maybe be a little bit easier on it because by then,
I
like
don't.
people
Yeah,
will know how
I
bad it is. But yeah,
I
go
don't
ahead.
think they're. I wonder if they're sending review codes after that. They're pretty eager to get the demo to me, but for some reason I haven't heard much from them since.
Mhm.
But I don't know if anybody's getting review codes for that one. Honestly, I don't know. I think they might know what's up.
From John, Nostalgia Gaming. This is another one from the question docket. And again, you can ask questions through this if you go to patreon.com/Jeff Grubb and get into the secret Discord channels. Question for both of you. But I know Mike plays Final Fantasy 14. Did either of you play MMO RPGs in their infancy, late 90s, early 2000s? If so, do you feel the genre has improved over time with the quality of life features like instance content, cross server matchmaking, fast travel, etc.? In some ways, I feel those things have hollowed out the community aspects of MMO RPGs. This is something I think we talked about a little bit when you were going between World of Warcraft retail and World of Warcraft Classic.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I did play some of those like late '90s ones. I played Asheron's Call a little bit. Was really probably the earliest one I played, and then more. This is probably more early 2000s, I think. But I played a little bit of Dark Age that came out. Now, to be clear, like when I say I played those games, it's not like how I play World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, where I played a lot of them and I'm into end game content and stuff like that. I was a younger guy back then and all that stuff. But yeah, there is something lost there for sure, right? Like those games were so much less rigid and defined, and the time was just different too, right? You didn't have this infinite amount of resources where you kind of just knew what you were supposed to do. So you just kind of ran around. It actually did feel like you were on some big new world adventure. And World of Warcraft Classic kind of captured that a little bit again because that game is just much more about that kind of organic stuff and actually going out and just having simple quests and stuff like that. Whereas, World of Warcraft right now, right, it is all that instant content. It's much more of a linear roller coaster with some diverging tracks, I guess, or some infinite loops, I suppose. But there are benefits to that too. Like Final Fantasy 14 is probably even more so than World of Warcraft, really, in terms of kind of being rigid. Everybody has very similar experiences of Final Fantasy 14 until you get to the end and you decide if you want to like play triple triad a lot, if you want to do PvP. But that main story quest is the same main story quest that everybody is going to do. So yeah, I think about this a lot. I wonder if you can really capture that old MMO feel again, or I think we're just too used to the conveniences that it's rough. Like World of Warcraft Classic was one thing because there's so many people who loved World of Warcraft Classic, right? But I don't know. I miss it, but I don't know if it can ever come back. I don't know if anything's even going to try. I feel like that Crowfall was something that was maybe supposed to try that, but also it was going to do a lot of procedurally generated stuff and a lot of kind of really, I don't know, like weird mechanics. And I feel like we haven't heard about that game in a while either.
This is so I never really played any of these games. So my question would be, do you think other genres could capture some of that? Like my question would be like when we played Eco and we were all relying on each other, did that have any of the same feelings of those early MMO games,
That's
or is it
a
very
good
different?
point. Yeah, Eco almost kind of reminded me of what I feel like Ultima Online might have been like for some people, minus all
Yeah.
like the actual like combat stuff. And that was very cool. And yeah, maybe that is the avenue for that. Yeah, you might be right there. Like really, I guess that's what I'm looking for, right? Really systems driven online multiplayer games, right?
Right.
We have some
Interconnected
things like that.
players, like interdependent on one another. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Go
So
ahead.
that's a question. But yeah,
Okay.
because Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft, are they're not really systems dependent games. They're content driven games.
Okay, so let's do a couple more questions. We got a big backlog from Nick Turbo who sent in a bunch of questions. So let's do a couple of those, and then we're going to continue to save those as we need them in the future in case we have a light week. He asked last week, how would you rank the PlayStation consoles? And I don't think I asked the follow-up question. How would you rank the Xbox consoles? Um, I I think for me it would be 360, Xbox Series X, Xbox One.
kind of rough that Series X is already that high. I
Yeah,
mean, gosh, is anybody not going to say Xbox 360 at
I don't think
top?
so. I don't know.
Right?
I
Like,
think
come
I think
on.
the Xbox Series X by the end could maybe outdo it, but I mean, Xbox 360 was such the ideal console, wasn't it? It was like
Oh yeah.
exactly what you wanted from a console, especially at
The
that
only
point,
problem,
but even
like,
today.
yeah, my only real issues with it was one, the Red Ring of Death was ridiculous.
Yep.
Like, everybody I knew suffered from that at least once, maybe twice.
Yeah.
And I don't like that they changed the UI so much and kept making it worse. Like, the
Yep.
blades were perfect; they should have just kept that. I was almost laughing the other day because I was doing something on my Series X, and I went to my profile page, and there was still an avatar there. I
Yes,
was
isn't
like,
that weird?
oh and like I could still customize. Like, why? Just get rid of it.
Yep.
My God. But like that, man, that is a holdover. Oh yeah, 360. Uh, yeah, I guess I'm gonna say I'm already like the Series X is already just a better Xbox One, right? My question is how much the original Xbox is a little weird. It only was around for 4 years. It
Right.
was the same lifespan time as the Wii U. Yeah, it had a short life, but obviously much better than the Wii U. I mean, Halo alone. So yeah, yeah, 360, Series X, Xbox One sounds right.
All right, last one, then we'll get into what we've been playing. Another one from Nick Turbo. Why haven't we seen a new BioShock game in a while? Where would you want a new BioShock to take place?
Well, Infinite didn't actually make that much money, right? That's what
Yeah.
everybody said. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
It was
and
expensive and it didn't live up to the internal promises of
mhm.
like it didn't deliver on the profits that it needed to sort of justify that series to come back. Uh, I think they're waiting to
And
like just change how they make games a little bit and see if they can figure out a way to like make production cheaper and just more affordable, and make that series make sense again. Because I don't think they expect like a BioShock 4 or whatever to do that much better than Infinite. So, and I think it's probably right.
right. And it's kind of a difficult series to sequelize, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, I know Infinite kind of introduced the whole zillion multiple universes thing, which I guess you can keep going down that rabbit hole, but I don't know. I don't know if that's something that turns people on or turns them off a little bit. It kind of turns me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me feel like nothing matters and all that jazz. So yeah, yeah. I don't know
Where would you
about
want it to take
Bioshock.
place? I'm like,
Where would I? I don't know. Like that's the weird thing. Like when I think about Bioshock, I think about the underwater city, right?
yeah,
So I don't know if it like what do we just put it on something wacky? Like this is
right.
like this world is all on jet skis.
I th-
Like I don't know.
yeah, I think like I think it's a bad idea because I mean, based on the track record of Infinite, they don't handle like racial issues very well, and they don't
No.
handle and they don't handle class issues very well or anything like that. And the whole both sides thing was bad.
Yeah.
But I guess in the way that like that Watchmen HBO series sort of brought in Tulsa and that like the Black Wall Street and that sort of thing, and did a really good job of that. I think that the future of BioShock would be something similar, like a future like quasi futuristic Black Wall Street sort of thing, and kind of make it feel like very infused with African American culture, like black lead. I think that would be cool and sort of it would, if they could do it right, it would sort of correct the wrongs of the series in the past. But yeah, I don't think
Would
they
you
pull it
like
off.
it if you like it if it was kind of like a modern Rapture, right? Like it's an underwater city again,
Yeah,
but it's not set from some it's like people from today.
yeah, that's a
Like
good idea.
it's like
That's a
it's
good
weird
point.
isolation. It's like weird isolationists from today have made an underwater city, and we go down there and get kind of weirded out by them for a while.
Yeah, yeah,
That'd be
exactly.
interesting.
That would totally
Yeah,
work.
to be clear, I like Bioshock One a lot. I thought that was one of my favorite games of that era, and Bioshock Two was fun. I think some people try to overstate the whole Bioshock 2 was better than people thought thing. I think it was as good as people said it was. Then Bioshock Infinite was all over the place. Like sometimes I
Yeah,
really liked it, and other times I was not so high on it.
definitely one of those games that a good example of it not living up to the hype and then sort of over promising on things like the hook shot thing where you were flying all over the place. It was very on rails. It wasn't. It was just not as expansive
Right.
as they made it seem like it was going to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's weird all over the place. Low roll legend with $3. Will we hear about xCloud on iOS before the summer?
Yes, I think so. Yes, yes, I think so. I'm actually I can't say too much about that, but I think so. Yeah, there's the
through the
heart.
heart.
There
Yeah,
you
through the
go.
heart. Yeah, yeah. I think you're. I think he said something to me earlier. Something to somebody. You seemed confident about this, right? Are you saying it on
Yes,
our Discord? Am I giving away your
probably.
Discord scoops? But
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I
you seem high
think
on
so.
this. I'll put you. You're hesitant. I'll put you on the line for
Thank
this.
you so
Jeff Grubb
much,
just
Mike.
promised you, Loru Legend, that iOS for xCloud is going to be revealed soon.
All right, what you been playing, Mike?
Well, I did start up Avengers on PlayStation 5 to see what was going on there
Yeah,
after I
tell
got
me
it all.
what is going on there.
Well, first off, it 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 does look good. It does have like the performance mode or the you know the 30 frames per second mode. And once again, I'm like, why would anybody pick this 30 frames per second mode? It looks just as good, just about, except it runs at half the frame rates. But 60 FPS mode looks great. Load times ridiculously fast, very impressive. Like this game had some serious load times, and now they're like 6-7 seconds between missions. So that's pretty nuts. The implementation of the analog stick adaptive trigger seems random and weird to me, and I'm confused because this was something they were kind of like hyping up, like they seemed proud of it, but and I'm hearing other people say it's weird too. Like I'm playing as Captain America, and on the left trigger, right, and that's just like to basically like go into the over the shoulder mode, right? Like you're going to shoot something because almost every Avengers character like they have some kind of range weapon and
Projectile, yeah.
push holding down L2. So it's like okay, so there's no resistance, and at the end there's a little bit of resistance sometimes, and then a lot of times there isn't. And I was trying so hard to figure out why sometimes there was, and sometimes there wasn't any. And then sometimes it would just like do a sputter kind of resistance for no reason. And then the right trigger was just basically always cranked up to full blast resistance,
Huh.
which for Captain America, you throw the shield with the right trigger. So I was at first like, okay, so yeah, it's a heavy shield, so throwing it, there's a lot of resistance. But then the other big mechanic with him is that you push right trigger like repeatedly to kind of kick the shield back, and there's still full blown resistance. So I'm just trying to throw this kick out, and that felt very bad. So I saw at least one justification from a developer saying that they turn it all on full blast so that people can then go in and lower it in the options, right? So because like apparently it's hard to create options to make it stronger, but you can make options to lower it. But
Hmm.
it just didn't make much sense to me. It felt so off that I actually started up Astro's Playroom afterwards and ran through that demo again just to make sure my controller wasn't broken. Like it didn't feel right
Wow.
at all. It felt really bizarre, and even the haptic feedback also didn't really feel very good. So yeah, like the next gen stuff, like in terms of the tech, seems great, but the DualSense implementation seems really kind of haphazard to me, and that's concerning because I worry that's going to be an issue. Maybe a lot of third-party developers are going to come across. Like as cool as I think DualSense is, and I raved about it when I was playing Astro's Playroom, right? It is up to each developer to take advantage of
Yeah.
that stuff, and some people are just going to do a better job than others.
And you said that at the time as well. Like when you were raving about it, you're like, it still depends on developers taking full advantage of it. And we always knew this was a risk, right?
Right, but maybe it's something that they can improve with patches.
Yeah,
But
you would hope so.
yeah, it felt so weird, and I think there must be different profiles for each of the characters. So I wonder maybe if it feels better with somebody else. But for Captain America, it just I want to go in next time and either turn it way down or just turn it off. It wasn't doing anything for me. And again, this was something that I absolutely loved in Astro's Playroom, and even in Spider-Man, I thought it was really well done there. Even in Call of Duty, I thought Call of Duty's use of it was pretty nice. I know some people don't like that just because it's like a shooter and they don't want to be dealing with resistances, right? They just want to push the buttons. So yeah, weird.
Yeah, that's I mean, I was playing on PC, so a lot of these improvements were like I already had them. But
Sure.
you know, it seems like it does seem like they're going to stick with this game, right? Based on these updates and now the promise of
Uh,
Wakanda, or what? What are you thinking?
I think they're going to have content for this year.
Right. Okay.
I think we're going to have Wakanda, and I think we'll get Spider-Man at some point, right? They didn't talk about that, which was interesting. I don't know. I was saying that I didn't even think we were going to get another hero outside of Spider-Man. So Black Panther was more than I was expecting. If there was something else besides Black Panther, unless there's a pretty nice sales bump from these next gen versions and
Right.
from Black Panther. I don't know, right? I mean, it feels like it's just more bad press because even though this happened today, what were a lot of people talking about? They were talking about how annoying it was to upgrade from PlayStation 4
Yeah.
to PlayStation 5. So I don't see a long term path for Avengers still. And again, I like playing the game fine. And again, looks pretty cool on PlayStation 5. The load times are great, but I don't know if it's enough.
Um, real quick, I my RK 2020 got here. It's
Is this your
Castlevania.
your Final Fantasy 9 device? No, what is
This one actually isn't. So I ordered this one, and then I also ordered the Retroid Pocket 2, and this one got here first. I'm in a mood right now where I just want to play old games, and I'm gonna use this
Yeah,
one mostly to play Game Boy Advance stuff. I think because it's got the right
that's awesome.
aspect ratio for that. And it's been great for that. I've been playing Advance Wars, and it's a very good
Man,
machine for that.
see, I'm in the mood to play some Game Boy Advance games too, but my kind of issue is if I was in that mood, I'd probably also want to play some DS games.
Yes, but for that, I have my 3DS, and my 3DS is there and good to go, and I can play my DS games on there if I want to, for the most part. Um, so yeah, I that's been working okay. So it's like it's older stuff, and then this can also play, N64 and PlayStation 1, and it does okay with Dreamcast, which I was pretty impressed by.
Oh, get
Um, Go ahead.
get Red Racer Type 4 on there because that
Yes.
has been my absolute
Yeah.
favorite. Like especially from that era Discovery. And I know it's not much of a discovery for most people. It's one of the most popular PlayStation games, but man, I had no idea how good that game was. I'm loving it. Hey, our Jason Wilson, our editor and guest last week says his kids are watching. They say hi to us, so wave to the kids, Jeff.
I will try to stop
Hey.
swearing so much. Hi, kids.
Yeah, hi. Uncle
Yeah.
Mike was definitely not drinking a beer earlier.
Yeah, my kids watched a few times too, and they're just like, "That's daddy, and that's daddy too." They think you're dad. They think you're me as well, just because you have a beard. So
Say what you were gonna say. Say that they think I'm daddy.
yeah, they think you're daddy. I was trying not to say that.
know
See, the
about
thing
that
is
one.
this stuff's gonna live online forever, Mike, and they're gonna grow up one day, and then they're gonna watch that and be like, "Oh God,
Oh
damn it!"
gosh. And then when we're working for Teen Vogue, it's gonna get dug up. We're gonna get
Yeah,
fired. And
yeah, we're gonna get fired. Yeah, exactly. I'll just say yes. I absolutely gonna. I ever since you started talking about Ridge Racer Type 4,
oof.
I've been like, oh yeah. Once I get this thing here, that's one of the first things I'm gonna put on there. So I'll probably do that today. It's just there's just a little SD card in there. You pop the ROMs on, pop
Yeah.
the CD
How
rips
much
on
is
there.
that?
This one was $60. So
That's
they're
tempting because I'm the same way. I very specifically do want to like go and play like Circle of the Moon, Aria. So like it's been a
yes,
while. I
yes,
really want to
absolutely.
play those
So
again.
there's like so much good stuff just on Game Boy Advance alone. I'm like Advance Wars, like all the Castlevania games, Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero Mission,
Isn't it upsetting we can't just easily play those games in a
and it
more
is not just upsetting;
like
it is
legal way?
absurd. It is
I paid
Nintendo
to do it
forced me to
so
do
bad.
this. Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I'm like,
how hard would a Game Boy Advance collection? Like, imagine if you did a collection just the Game Boy Advance and the DS Castlevania, Metroidvanias, those 6 games or
yes,
whatever. Like, I'd pay $100 for that. I really
yeah.
would.
I really
I
would.
would.
I do not understand why they those collections continue to sell well on the Switch. That one would be a monster hit. I wish they would do that so bad, but whatever. I'm just gonna play it on here now. This screen is like it
Man,
looks really nice. It's
SNK
big.
is SNK is releasing compilations of Neo Geo Pocket Color games on the
Yeah.
Switch. And we can't.
What the hell?
The only Game Boy Advance series that has gotten a good compilation for Switch is the Mega Man Zero games, and it's great. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love that. That's so good. So,
So I am in a situation where I'm like craving those games. I'm like, the pandemic has me like just kind of looking for some, warm fuzzy feelings, and this is a good way to get it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this Arcade 2020 and the Retroid Pocket 2, and I'm gonna load a bunch of old ROMs on there, and I'm just gonna start playing a lot more older games on these systems. And this one so far has been really good. I think it's. I got the plastic one. There's a metal one. I guess the build quality on that would be better. But I think this one it seems pretty sturdy, and I like the buttons, so it's pretty
I showed
solid.
you my retro gaming station now these days.
No, you have not in a
Cool
while.
thing. Yeah, so I put all my. I got this monitor sent to me, so let me make sure. Yeah, so I got all my mini consoles just set up right in this monitor there, and they're all modded too, so they all have Well, most of them are modded. I don't know how to mod a mini TurboGrafx 16, but they all have a lot more games than they came with. So
That's awesome.
until I started playing Final Fantasy 14 a lot again, that was like what I was exclusively doing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And yeah, you said those are all the mini ones. So like they have the HDMI out and they look good on that screen.
Oh, they look great. They look great on that screen. Yeah,
Yeah,
look fantastic.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I have those, and I like that, and that's like where I was playing like Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo Classic, but it's just hard to get exclusive time with the TV with the kids around. So
sure.
this makes it a lot easier for me, and it just fits into my life, and I don't regret it. And when the Retroid Pocket gets here too, I'm gonna set that up, and that's Android based, so it's very easy to stream stuff. Like I was mentioned a few weeks ago, I'll stream stuff from both like Xbox and my PC, and so that's where I'll play Final Fantasy 9. Yes, that'll be my Final Fantasy 9 device. Yeah, but you've also been kind of spending some more time with Final Fantasy 14.
Oh,
Give me
still
the
lots of
update.
time. Well, now I've gotten real deep into Triple Triad, the card game.
Okay, yes. So I know Final Fantasy games always seem to have these mini games. How's this one?
Well, it's funny because this is the one from Final Fantasy VIII, right? And I played all these games.
I thought
When
it
I
was
played
familiar,
Final
yeah.
Fantasy VIII, I did not really play Triple Triad very much. So this was really like my first big experience of Triple Triad. And so Final Fantasy 14 has a gold saucer, just like Final Fantasy 7, and it's just like in there, it's the mini game hub. But since it's an MMO, there's kind of a bit more of a social element to it. And there's all these different things you can do there. And you get like, instead of gambling with money or whatever, you get GP points or whatever. You can trade that in for cool rewards like mountain stuff. So now I'm doing a bit of mount hunting. I'm doing two things. So because a single character can learn all the jobs in the game, I'm leveling up two different jobs now that I'm already got my black mage maxed out. So I'm leveling up red mage right now. And kind of like while I'm doing that, or if I'm in a queue to do a dungeon or something, then I just play Triple Triad while I'm waiting, or do something else silly at the Gold Saucer. So pretty much nonstop fun and engagement for me. So many engagements.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it sounds like there's just kind of nonstop stuff for you to do in that thing. Like every week it's
There
something
is for
different.
now. Yeah, there really is. I think they even just yesterday were talking a bit about the next patch 5.5, which will continue the story a bit more and kind of set things up for Endwalker. And I'm pretty excited for what I think in May there's that fan festival for Final Fantasy 14 where we're going to learn about the other new job coming to the game, and I'm sure a bunch of other things. So nostalgia game, but that's interesting. So Final Fantasy 9 has Tetra Master instead of Triple Triad. So it's similar but different. Most people don't like Tetra Master as much. He was saying Tetra Master is the goat.
Okay.
I think it does have some, but the general consensus seems to be that Triple Triad is better. That's why 14 has Triple Triad and not Tetra Master.
I've put more time into Loop Hero. It's still fantastic. Yeah, it's worth it. I think most people who try this game are going to get into it. It seems like one of those games where if you look at it, you're like, that's not my kind of thing. I think if you try it, most people will end up kind of getting sucked in. I will say that my update based on after me and Jason talked about it last week pretty in depth, so I'm not going to repeat a lot of what we said. I will say that the aspect of the numbers going up and the game playing itself is a convenient cover for what's really happening in the game, which is you are learning the strategies. And that we talked a little bit about that last week, but one I learned, a very simple one I learned since then is like grove placement. You want to place your groves on like peninsulas where they're touching as many adjacent points on the loop as possible, so that when you put down the Blood Roots card, you can have it touching all those other streets, so that when the Blood Roots come out and attack enemies, it attacks as many enemies as possible. So it's confusing, but basically like just there's like a strategy I'm learning there, and it's like a very basic one, but it's one like once you start realizing, okay, that is an important way to survive these loops, you realize, okay, there's a lot of that stuff happening. And then the game also unlocks more examples, like you get quests, and these quests enable you to, like, if you basically, it's just like, oh, we're gonna put a strong enemy on the map and your guy's gonna go fight that, and if they do that enough, you can unlock traits for your character, and the traits will have stuff where like you can combine certain weapons with certain traits to get even better synergies. So if you get a trait that's like it improves your counter, like you do more damage on your counter attack, well, you'll want to equip weapons that increase your chance of doing a counterattack. So that this like helps you choose which weapons and items you're going to equip instead of just like always putting on the one that does the most damage or that has the most buffs. Maybe you're going to look at the one that has maybe a little bit less damage, maybe fewer buffs, but has a better chance to increase your counter. And this is where all your interactions are really coming from. And there's a lot more of that stuff as you unlock parts of the game. And it's like, okay, so the numbers going up, yeah, that's cool. But actually, I'm like learning the very, the intricacies of the way the mechanics work together. And that's going to be the real gameplay for me going forward. I still haven't beaten the first boss. So I'm still doing loops trying to do that.
So you're bad at it still.
So I'm bad at it. Well, I'm bad at the risk reward. I always try to push forward, and then I lose like 60% of the resources, 70% of the resources, and I have to go back with just 30%. And you can't build a lot when you keep doing that. So I need to do a couple where I just take back 100%. I just cut it short and then try to build up some more stuff at my base. Then that improves my strength and the actual runs and stuff like that. So I'm gonna keep at it. It's a really fun game. I was playing it during the Snyder Cut last night, which we don't have to talk about. But yeah.
No, please, no. Yeah, I maybe I need to take 30 minutes away from Final Fantasy 14 some point this weekend and try it. I haven't downloaded. I mean,
if you have like a laptop next to your gaming computer, you could honestly just run it. I guess unless Final Fantasy. Where do you play Final Fantasy on Steam?
On my desktop.
On Steam?
Yeah, no, it has its own launcher.
Okay, yeah. So then you could have this running in Steam as well, and then kind of have it just try it during downtime and stuff like that. Because it is mostly going to play itself. You'll have to babysit it quite a bit, but you can at least like let it get started and see if you even care about it.
Sure.
Anything else, or should we get out of here, Mike?
I think that's gonna do it for me.
Okay, yeah, same here. I did get the message finally. I ordered my Retroid Pocket at the end of last month, and then there was no update. And then last night it's like, hey, we finally shipped it. I'm like, wait, it hadn't shipped already? So hopefully that gets here pretty quickly, and then I can start talking about that too. Until then, though, let's Mike, tell people where they could find you on the internet.
Well, don't forget, we did publish our tier list on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 levels. So that's the last tier list that's up on the Jeff Grubb's Game Mess YouTube channel. I think next week we're going to be doing Kingdom Hearts game titles. So the literal names of the Kingdom Hearts games, we're going to rank those. So that'll be
excited.
Delightful. Yes. Oh, how we'll laugh. And then you can find me on my 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com. We just did an episode about our favorite parades in Disney theme parks. So
more exciting than what he makes it sound like there. I know parades are the same old fashioned. They got some cool parades.
Pretty exciting to me, but I guess I'm the person who thinks Disney World is the greatest thing on the world.
Yeah. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I tweet too much. Don't follow me. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitch.
Yeah.
And then if you are listening to the podcast, the audio version of the show, do check us out on YouTube. It's Jeff Grubb's Game Mess is the name of the channel now. We do the show live on Fridays. My kid is hungry and she's yelling at me, so we should get out of here. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next week, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. And release a Castlevania collection, please, Konami.
Right. Bye.